Wait, just 1 minute on that. Hey, how are you all doing? Another edition of Ask the Estate Agent. Had a really good time a couple of nights ago doing the live Q&A, so thought I'll do another one as I've got a little bit more time to spare this evening. Now I've set up everything a little bit better, I hope. So I'm hoping your comments down here, and I can see rather than have to keep touching my phone like I did the other day. So with any luck, it should be a pretty seamless seamless Q&A. So if you do have any questions for me, I'm an estate agent. Let me introduce myself if you don't know me. Lee Everett. I've been in the estate agent for 18 years in September, so I've dealt quite a lot with, so I feel like I could potentially help on quite a few questions and situations you might find yourself in. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop it in the comment section as well. Please hit the like at some point as well if you do get some helpful advice in this video. Yeah, because without you, there's no questions, there's no life. There's nothing for me to do apart from rabbit on and talk about me, which that's not what you're here for. So I'm just going to put up the stream on the laptop, so if there is any questions, I can actually see them. How are you guys spending your Sunday evening, your bank holiday Sunday evening? Any good? Hello, Mr. K. How you doing? Thanks for popping in and hitting the like button if you have. That's really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so Sunday night, another late one, 10:10. Got work tomorrow. That's poor estate agent. It isn't, is it? It really isn't. 2 people watching, and both of you have liked it, so thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, really need some questions, otherwise you're going to be really bored hearing about how I've changed around my dining room, which, yeah, you're not going to want to hear, are you? You're not going to want to hear. So let me know what's going on in your property journey. What stage are you at? Are you buying at the moment? Are you waiting for the stamp duty holidays to possibly finish so you might be able to buy a more reasonably priced property? Are you in the process of buying right now? Have a few hurdles or questions that you may want to ask someone who should be in the know? I don't know everything. Like, I'm not a licensed conveyancer or a mortgage advisor, but there's a lot of subjects that I've touched on over the sort of nearly 18 years. I know a lot of first-time buyers have a lot of questions, and sometimes they feel a little bit embarrassed to ask, or yeah, don't feel like they can pester their solicitor or the estate agent out of fear of being, I don't know, just put to the side or embarrassed. Money, whiskey and coffee. Good channel, actually. Good channel. He covers quite a lot of investment bits and pieces as well. Watched a few videos, mate. So yeah, really good content. Really good content. So leasehold. The main thing for me personally, if I was buying a leasehold, would be the length of the lease. We touched on this on the live we done a couple of nights ago. I personally wouldn't touch anything less than 100 years left on a leasehold property. As soon as you start getting close to that 85, 80 years left on the lease, some mortgage companies won't actually lend on it. So what you've got to be mindful of is if you're going to be in that property for 5, 10, 15 years, although you can get the mortgage on it now if it's a 90, 95 year lease, but if and when you come to sell that property at some point in the future, is the next buyer going to be able to get a mortgage on it? And if they can't, that's really going to affect your value and your sell on attractiveness. Because if you can't get a mortgage on a property, then it's just cash buyers that want to buy, and they of course want a bit of a deal. They're going to lowball you and use the fact they've got to renew the lease as a bargaining tool to try and get as much money off the property as possible. And when you're selling a house, you want the opposite. You want to get as much money as possible. So length of lease is very, 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 very key. The next thing I would say is your service charges and ground rent. They're going to be, well, they can range from next to nothing all the way up to sort of thousands and thousands of pounds a year. So when you're looking to buy a property, a leasehold property, then certainly those costs need to be factored into your affordability, and also what that money actually covers as well, because you don't want to be paying thousands of pounds a year if the communal areas aren't being looked after, or the outside appearance of the property is just looking rubbish and not being kept well. So yeah, good tip actually is when you are viewing a leasehold property, do look at those communal areas, do look at the gardens, the hallways, the rubbish areas and stuff like that. And that will give you an idea on if the okay, what is happening with house prices now. It's crazy. Any reasons for the recent price strike? Better to wait. If buying, any outlook on this? Thanks. At the moment, while there's a severe lack of properties on the market, literally gone sky high, and just like any commodity, if there isn't much of the price. So when the government announced their stamp duty holiday last year, lots and lots of people who are potentially going to be moving this year in 2021 decided to put their house on the market last year, not knowing that that stamp duty holiday was going to be extended into 2021. So that's left a massive shortage and void of properties on the market this year. And while that's happening, there is just going to be many people fighting over the same houses, and that's when your prices start to go up. If I know personally, when I've gone and valued a house, say we valued a 3-bedroom semi, 123 the street, and that sold like that at asking price, the next 3-bedroom semi you value in the vicinity of that one, you try a little bit more, and if that sells again like that, you just keep going. I know that's horrible for a buyer, especially a first-time buyer, to actually hear, but that is just how the market is at the moment. Until more sellers flood to the market and there's more choice for buyers and more competition for sellers, then house prices are going to keep going up. And I think house prices went like 2.1% in April. Like that's huge. You wouldn't even normally see that in a year. But the last month, 2.1%, and on the average house price, which they say is around 300 and something thousand pounds, it's like six grand. I think around my neck of the woods it's around 240, 250 the average house price, and if that's going up £3,000-4,000 a month, then that increase, I don't think sustainable forever. So I do think at some point there will be either a slowdown or a slight correction, but certainly at the moment I don't think there's going to be any drastic change in prices of houses in the market at the moment. So what do you think, Mr. K? What's going on where you are? Are you waiting? I mean, if you do decide to wait and those house prices keep going up, say another 2% by the end of the year, and they stop, you're still 2% more expensive buying later on than what you are now. Even if they drop 2%, you know, better off or worse off. So it's a real tough one to decide. I personally am quite glad I'm not thinking of moving right now, because it's a bit of a minefield. I'm quite happy where we are for the moment. So do you think that 3D printed houses are the future? I read an article of a couple in Holland that bought 3D printed house, and what effect will it have on prices? Haven't heard of that. That's an interesting concept. And my brother Dean, he one of his ideas was to buy a prefabbed house like in Germany, where everything's made in the factory and it's just slotted into place. The wiring's in there, the kitchen, everything is literally just put together on site in a matter of days. Which that concept sounds great, but 3D printed houses, that I'll have to look into that. I mean, if they can do it, it's where they're going to put them. That's the issue, isn't it? There's a massive shortage of houses. Government have pledged to build thousands of new homes a year. And what they are doing at the moment just isn't enough. That's why prices are so high. But interesting concept. But my come back to that would be, it's all well and good being able to build the houses or procure the houses, but it's where you're going to put them the services that these new builds are going to require and need. So, Mr. K, we wait and see. As soon as they're listed, they're going to go in a week. Most we call for to look at, but either gone or sold subject to contract. My advice there, I've done a video on that. It's what I call a Rightmove hack, a bit of a clickbait title, but I personally don't rely on getting the emails from Rightmove or phone calls, text messages from the estate agent. Sometimes that's far too late. You need to be either checking Rightmove 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day, as much as you can. There's no excuse for not being able to check Rightmove these days. There's the app. You can do it at work, on your phone. Do you know what I mean? There's no reason at all why you can't be on Rightmove all the time. I mean, I am personally, like, for my job, but I know in between appointments or on my lunch break, do you know what I mean? I can flick through Rightmove and see what's going on. So you'll know straight away when a new house comes on the market, because sometimes Rightmove doesn't email out a new property straight away. I didn't know this until about 5, 6 months ago. So they batch out emails Rightmove, so they'll send out maybe 10,000 emails of a particular property one day, then another 10,000 on that house the next day. So yeah, you may be getting an email, but by the time you call, it might be sold. So check the app numerous times a day. That way you should be one of the first to see it. It doesn't help as well being friendly to the estate agents. Before you even book a viewing, just say, look, I'm a good buyer, I've got my mortgage agreement in principle or cash, here's my proof of funds, here's my mortgage agreement in principle. If you do get anything like a 3-bed semi-house, please give me a call. I'd love to view it. Just get to know that person, email, keep up to date with the estate agent. At the moment, they're going to be too busy to be constantly calling you, but if you're in the front of their mind, so when the new house does come on the market, they call you first rather than calling other people, then that'll only help. That'll only help. Hard to chase this train now, yeah. But it will happen. It will happen. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. There'll always be a house. There'll always be a house. It's just a case of when rather than if. Hi Lee, any loopholes to buy your second home with 10% deposit, looking to put on rent but don't have 25% deposit for the buy to rent mortgage? Loopholes. What do we mean by loopholes here? If you're looking to get a buy to let mortgage, then I think at the moment, I'm not a mortgage broker, you need a minimum of 20% deposit. So with 10% legally, no, I don't think there's a way around it. I don't think so. I know some people who buy a house on a residential mortgage, who may live there for a couple of years and then they may get a job relocation, which means they might need to rent their current property out. You can do that providing you seek lender approval and get permission from your mortgage lender to rent the property out. So there are people who can, or lenders that will allow you to change a residential mortgage to a buy-to-let mortgage, but you have to obviously seek permission, and they can say no because you initially bought that property as a residential, your home, not to make money from it. But I've not heard of too many people that I've dealt with where they've had a change of circumstances and the lender refused to let them let the property out after a certain amount of time. There might be a rule in your mortgage that you can't rent it out or change it to a buy-to-let mortgage for X amount of months or years. So yeah, I don't like using the word loophole because that sort of insinuates something I don't want to associate with this channel, but I don't think you can get a buy-to-let mortgage on 10%. But if you was to buy a property on a residential mortgage, then people do seek permission from their lender to change that into a buy-to-let mortgage. So best speaking to a mortgage broker. If you're saying that, if your intention is to let the property out, then a mortgage broker may not want to advise you because they have a certain code and conduct they need to do. So I would personally stick to saving that 20% that you're going to need, and do everything all properly, all kosher, and that way you're not getting any surprises later on. So, My name was King Coffee. Do you think that with house prices going up, that salaries not following the same trend, future generations will eventually be priced out of buying a property? Yeah, yeah. I think one of the best bits of news in the last month or two, especially for first-time buyers, has been that Nationwide have offered 5.5 times wages rather than the standard 4.5. A lot of my videos when I was talking about stamp duty and 95% mortgages, it's all well and good offering these incentives to help people not have to save as much deposit, but house prices have been going up quicker than wages for years and years and years. And all the time people are saying, oh, it's got to stop because people can't buy, but people still do manage to buy, whether that's more deposit from dad or bank of mum and dad or family, which has allowed them to keep their mortgage payments low. But as soon as you start hitting that 4.5 times multiplier, wage multiplier, then yeah, there's not a lot more you can do to improve your affordability apart from get a better job. And that's not hard. So that's not easy. But no, I think with the 5.5 times salary for first-time buyers, that is, and you've got to be earning 30 grand on your own or £50,000 a joint application, and your credit's got to be squeaky clean, no missed payments, no blemishes, nothing at all. But it is possible to sort of get that higher amount borrowed. So I think we lost you there. I've had a lot of horror stories on new builds, and a friend of mine is currently struggling with initial on his new build house. Oh, no, not at all. My mum and dad bought a new build coming up to just over 2 years ago. Rose Builders, company in Essex, really good, can't fault them whatsoever. And they bought a new build before that by, what's it called, Bovis Homes. I think they've gone bust now, been taken over. But yeah, not all new builds are the same. No. I know you do hear some horror stories. I know a lot of people are against Persimmon homes. There's like Facebook groups which really slate Persimmon, which is yeah, not. I mean, it's a new build house. You do expect a certain level of finish and aftercare, which some people don't get. But I can't speak highly enough for the one my parents bought and fixed that. So no, not all new builds are the same. But do your due diligence. Do look on sort of review websites and speak to the neighbours. If you want to go into a development which has people living there already, it's worth knocking on some neighbours' door and asking what the aftercare is like, what the finish is like, because the show home doesn't show everything. So yeah, new builds can. I would love a new build. I wouldn't pay a new build price because I feel that they're overpriced. And my parents, but that's just their money. But they've done all right. They bought 2 years ago and prices have gone up. Normally you don't make money on new build houses. So if you are going to buy a new build, make sure you stay there for a little while, because as soon as you buy it, the price tends to dip like a new car. So if you drive it off the forecourt, it's worth less. And that's sort of similar with new build houses. So that can be it can be something to sort of take into consideration. Blimey, we're busy on the comments this evening. Do you think stamp duty holiday might get extended? Nah. I don't think so. Because it's tapering off. So at the end of June, you're only getting stamp duty exemption up to 250,000, and then after the 1st of July until the end of September, it's then only applicable for properties up to 250,000. So yeah, I can't see them extending it. It brings them in a lot of money. And there's only so long that they're not going to want to start getting that money back. It's only natural. I mean, the government's borrowed so much money over the last year. They've got to start clawing it back somewhere. Please, if you are watching and you find this helpful and get some value, please give it a like. It helps YouTube know that this is a decent stream or a decent channel. So if you haven't liked it, please give us a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Where are we? I can't get my head around how house prices are spiking despite unemployment rising. How is this possible? I mean, unemployment hasn't been as bad as what people predicted. And I think, especially up north, I read today that unemployment has dropped dramatically. So if you're in the northern part of England, that job loss, that job creation has been better than forecast. So it's not all doom and gloom, but house prices are crazy high. When furlough finishes, whenever that is, I can't remember, it keeps getting bloody extended, we might see something, but yeah, I don't think we're going to see a massive dip in prices like what we saw in 2007 and 2008. The banks are run differently now. I think the government put a lot of support in place for people in our country to hopefully not get repossessed and those house prices then tumble. So I hope there's a correction so people can start affording houses again. But I don't think there'll be a drop. And a correction, I mean just like a levelling off, and maybe you might sort of fishtail a little bit, but yeah, I can't see a massive change, to be honest with you. Anderson de Borba, how long does flood risk reporting take? Is it really recommended? Depends on how close you are to a water source. Normally your environmental search would be enough. Yeah, but if you are in a flood risk prone area, I mean, I live by the sea is like 500 yards that way. I didn't get a flood report. I know this hasn't flooded, or this part of hasn't flooded as far as I know, but some parts of Essex flooded in the 1950s. But sea defences have been improved since then. So I don't think, unless you specifically know of a particular reason why you'd want that flood risk, your solicitor will always recommend to get one because they need to say that to cover their backsides. But flood risk for my area certainly isn't a worry in Essex. There are some places further, sort of middle of the country, etc., which tend to flood each year. So certainly worth looking into if you are in or looking in a flood risk prone area. I don't know how much they cost, but if it's £100 and it points out something that you wasn't aware of, it could save you thousands in the future. So yeah, you have to sort of do your own due diligence on that one, depending on where in the country you are. How long does it take? I don't know. I'd imagine it's probably pretty quick. I mean, the only long search that really takes is the local search. That's with the local council. So if your solicitor's gone to the local council for local search, that's the longest type of search that I'm aware of. But flood risk, I can't imagine. The data's all there, it's ready for that whole area, so that shouldn't take too long to come back. Cheers, mate, for that. How would a mortgage work on a holiday home, or is this the same as a buy-to-let? You'd need to speak to a mortgage broker. I mean, if you're looking to buy a second home as a holiday home, then you could get a residential mortgage, or there might be a special holiday home mortgage which you can get. I mean, if you do want to speak to a broker, I know a good one. So if you send me an email at Lee Everett, that's LEEEVERITT, propertyadvice@gmail.com, I can put you in contact with a really good mortgage broker who'll be able to help you with that. But yeah, I don't know, and I don't want to advise you wrongly on that. So yeah, get in touch with me and I can put you in contact with a really good mortgage broker. Property investors buy them, yeah. Where are we? Any downsides of houses heated with oil, infrastructure, maintenance costs compared to gas heater? Now, my boss has got a oil central heating. It's you still get your radiators. So if you're used to gas central heat, you're going to get your radiators. And like with gas, oil price goes up and down. So I wouldn't mind having oil central heating. I know a lot of rural areas do have oil central heating because there's no mains gas in the area. So in some instances it's either oil or some form of electric heating. But I don't think it would. Yeah, I don't think there'd be any downsides to it. You've got a big tank in the garden which has to be a certain distance away from any structure. A company will come and fill that up whenever you need it to be. Might be once a year, twice a year, and that price will fluctuate depending on oil prices. So it could be an efficient way of heating your home. But I've got no personal experience apart from my boss has it, and he gets on pretty well with it. So he's no money, whiskey and coffee. Oil central heating is not great. I would look into a heat pump. I know E.ON are trying to pump out these air source heat pumps, and a town near me called Jaywick. I think it's England's most deprived town. The government ploughed tens of millions of pounds into the area to make the homes more energy efficient, and they put in these air source heat pumps. And yeah, it's like you get an air conditioning unit in the back garden, and then that sucks out any heat in the air, and then uses that heat to heat up a water cylinder, and then that pumps the hot water into the radiators. I think the problem with those at the moment is there's not many people that service them. So if they do have an issue, what we've been finding when we're selling these bungalows in Jaywick is finding a company local enough who could come and service them and maintain them. So that might be different for you, Money Whiskey and Coffee, but around my neck of the woods, we really struggle to find a decent air source heat pump engineer that will come and service and maintain those units. As someone that moved to the UK 10 years ago, I don't know why Essex is relatively expensive when it comes to houses. Is it the easiest? We're very commutable. Essex is very commutable. I mean, you've got to take, when we talk Essex house prices, you're talking Romford, Hornchurch, Dagenham. They're London boroughs, so that obviously ups the average house price for Essex. But I mean, Colchester, Chelmsford, which are 20 minutes to 40 minutes away from me, very expensive parts of Essex, probably 20% more expensive than where I am. Our area is pretty expensive compared to some in the country, but yeah, that commutability was a major factor in house prices. COVID may change that. I mean, people used to have to work in London to get a London wage, and what the pandemic has mentioned or taught a lot of people and a lot of companies is that their employees don't necessarily need to be working in London to do their job. That trust is now there, that job can be done from home. So you might find a lot more people earning a London wage can be living in a more inexpensive area, save the money on a mortgage, put it in their pocket rather than travel costs all the time. So you're in Colchester, I'm in Clacton, Money Whiskey and Coffee. We're 15 miles away from each other, and it is expensive. You're more expensive than me. Trust me, I'm an engineer. Ah, okay. Maybe it's a line of work for you, mate. If you're after some more work and some more money, maybe, then training that air source heat pump, I think there will be a massive market for engineers if it takes off. And I think new builds from 2025 aren't allowed gas boilers after that, so they will be fitting some form of electric heating. Maybe it'll be those. I don't know. Maybe that's a topic for another video. How are you finding Colchester? You like it there? I lived there till I was about 8 years old. Then my parents moved us down to Clacton near the seafront. So yeah, best move I feel like they've done. Love living here, absolutely love it. Love bringing the kids up here as well, so it's going to be good. Yeah, any questions, anyone? And remember, if you are getting value and you watch this, if you haven't liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Helps YouTube know that I'm talking sense rather than just gibberish. Have I missed anyone? Have I missed anyone? I think we've got them all. I think we've got all the questions, guys. Any more questions for the 5 wonderful people that are sticking around? Any of you in houses tomorrow? I mean, it's bank holiday Monday, doesn't mean you can't view houses. I think I logged onto our system today to see how busy the diary is tomorrow. I think back-to-back appointments for the 4 hours we're open tomorrow, so I imagine it's going to be the same around the country. Well, there's not a lot of houses in the market at the moment, so there's probably 2 or 3 people for every house. Let me know if you're finding that. I say we certainly are. We certainly are. That severe lack of properties on the market is creating this perfect storm for sellers, and horrible storm for first-time buyers or people who are in between homes or have sold and renting or what have you. Yeah, it's been a real strange year, not just with COVID, but absolutely everything. It's been a strange one. Any more questions, anyone? I should restructure these a bit better to have something to sort of talk about when there is no questions. Sort of just do this on a whim whenever the baby's asleep and the other half's watching something on the telly. I'll just sort of come in and do this. sort of viewers are slowly dropping off. I'm losing you. Right, I'm going to leave it at that then, guys. So I'm going to try and do one or two of these. Hello, Dean. Hello, Dean. Would you ever invest in property? You know I would. Thanks for the question, mate. Bit of engagement. You know I would. It's just having the money. If you want to lend me some, that'd be great. That'd be great. No, I, in an ideal world, me and the other half, we've talked about properties for a pension, retirement sort of fund, sort of paying themselves over the next sort of 5-10 years, and then taking the money out at some point in the future. But yeah, it's certainly something that I can see us wanting to do. Probably can't do it for a little while unless you want a joint venture. Then we'll talk about that. Yeah, but that's certainly something I don't think you can lose in property. If you time things right, I think investing in property is one of the best things you can put your money. People might say crypto or stocks and shares, but no, me personally, I know more about property than I do crypto or stocks and shares. So yeah, I definitely would love to do that. Maybe flipping, building up more equity each time to maybe put towards a bigger house. I don't know. Joint venture, get Dan involved as well. Yeah, we could do. Do you think he'd want a part of his money though? Mr. K, we moved from Hampshire after 12 years to Cheshire and couldn't believe house prices here almost half the price in some areas. Northwest is awesome. Yeah, it's all relative though, isn't it? It's all relative. Where wages aren't, I'll try to put this delicately without annoying people, where wages or jobs aren't any sort of scarce or aren't as high as other areas, and that will have lower house prices and generally lower cost of living. So that includes mortgages and sort of house prices. So where wages tend to be more higher, tends to be more expensive properties. Supply and demand again. Supply and demand. So you are going to get some areas where there may not be lots of jobs, or the jobs that are there are relatively low paid. That may have an effect on the house prices. Me myself, because we're in that sort of commutal area for London, we've always had a steady stream of people who've come from London looking to move by the seafront. We've also had people retire down here to retire by the sea. So we've always had people relatively well off, if I can use that term, moving to this area, which has kept those prices steadily high compared to some parts of the country. Any places that accept crypto for houses? I think one day they'll do it. One day. I think HSBC were looking into crypto as something to do. I'm not sure whether they'll. I mean, can you prove where it comes from? That's the whole thing with crypto, isn't it? Money laundering. They've got to prove that money. Maybe you have to prove how you bought that Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoin, or however many you've got, or whatever coin it is. Again, I'm not clued up with crypto, but yeah, I think maybe eventually, providing you can prove where that money came from to buy that Bitcoin, then I don't see why not in the future, where some lenders won't allow that as a deposit, or some solicitors. I mean, solicitors here, if you can prove, you'll be able to prove where that money's come from. Got to prove that money's come from. If you can do that, I don't see why in the future that Bitcoin won't be used, or cryptocurrency can't be used. So banks are looking into it now. I think even the Bank of England are thinking of doing something. So it might be something to look at in the future. So if you've got some crypto and you're thinking of buying a house with it, watch this space. Watch this space. MK, M3 and 4 triangle, crazy prices. COVID and work from home will make people move to more affordable counties. Yeah. But also, it's made people move to more sort of rural areas. Do you mean that? Yeah, rural areas. So, or be closer to family. And my area, again, is by the seafront. There's a lot of retired people, and a lot of families have decided to move closer to their older relatives as they need help. Especially the last year, if you don't live on the doorstep to your family member, and something like this happens again, there's a new variant or there's a lockdown or what have you, being 50, 60, 70, 100 miles away from your family member has been quite unsettling for some people. So we've had a lot of people moving closer to family down here, and also a lot of people move to be close to their family in these more expensive areas. So I think what you're saying is true to a certain degree, but if you get a lot of people going to those rural or more affordable areas, and if there's not as many houses for sale, the price is naturally going to go up again anyway. So what is an affordable place now might not be affordable in six to 8 months. If prices are going up 2% a month as they did last month, then yeah, those affordable places might start to become few and far between. Raw as well. We're scouting now, mid-North Wales. Wales, lovely part of the world. Been to Wales once, near the Brecon Beacons. Enjoyed it. Ears pop though. I don't do heights very well. My ears pop. Yeah, thank you. Cheers. Thanks for commenting, mate. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Is it Lawant? Lajwant, Ray? I butchered that. I'm sorry. I absolutely butchered that. Yes, Mr. K. Yeah. Wales, lovely, and I'm sure that it's quite affordable there, isn't it? I don't know personally, but I know a few of my sellers have moved that way because of the attractive prices. I know there's some sort of like Birmingham is relatively cheap, or around Birmingham, those sort of northeast, northwest parts of the country, and sort of Wales as well tends to be quite attractive for a lot of people looking to maybe release money or buy in a more affordable area, maybe build up some equity, and then maybe gradually buy the more expensive or bigger property. But yeah, love Wales, love Wales. I have to go back there one day. Bit of a drive though from Essex, about 5 hours. Me and the other half, we drove to the Lake District 2 years ago for one night. Yeah, it was a bloody long trip, and it rained, and she forgot a jacket, so we didn't see much of the Lake District. So yeah, didn't quite realise it was going to be a 6-hour drive up there. We should have, but yeah. And we crashed a wedding. There's a wedding reception at our hotel, which we sort of just invited ourselves to, the most underdressed people at a wedding reception. So yeah, but Wales, lovely. Can't wait to go back at some point. So what are the prices like there, Mr. K? What would a 2 up, 2 down, or a 3-bed semi cost you? What sort of... Oh, you got to go. Fair enough. It is late on a Sunday. Well, look, guys, I'm going to go as well. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. I love doing these. I love the engagement. I love talking about something I'm passionate about. So if you have, hang on, 3-bed semi with garage and garden, 180 to 200. There you go. That's decent. That would be 3-bed semi with garage. They're about 240 here at the moment. 3-bed detached, 2 to 230. It detaches here anywhere from 250 upwards, so there's definitely a saving from being the west of where I am. Cool, yeah. I'd love to get a 3-bed. 4-bed detached must be 240 then. That'd be nice. Can't remember the last time I sold a 4-bedroom detached house for under 250. Then I'll call it a finish. Yeah. I'll tell you what, if I could buy a 4-bed detached house around here now, I'm gone. I'm having it. I don't think those days are going to be any time soon. But yeah, we've got a 3-bed house at the moment, and we looked about going to the loft, but what I thought would be 15 grand, naively thought would be 15 grand. Quotes came in from like 30 to 45,000 pounds, which I nearly fell over. 40 grand for a staircase and a loft and some flooring. I know there's a lot more to it, but in my eyes, I thought 15 grand would be absolutely fine. Then stop spending my pension. Hello, Dad. Does that mean you're agreeing to it then, Dad? Hey, come on, let's get together. Let's form a little company. Everett & Sons, we could call it. Start our property portfolio. I can't put much in though. I could be the advice. Everett Limited. Yeah, love it. Yeah, you definitely do the maths. I can't even do the chalking when we used to play darts. Yeah, you can do the maths and deal with a lot of the money as well. You can pay for my expertise, which people get for free on this channel. So, yeah. Yeah, but I work in finance, so don't worry. I'm not really needed, am I? You two got it together. You don't need me. Now, I'm sure we'll be able to find a good deal at some point in the near future. I'll pull some money out of here and we can, just start a little something. I can't do any maintenance, I can't paint, can't do any DIY, but Dad, you can do that. Things Dad handled it. Get Mum to do some painting, Dad, yeah? I think. No. You don't think? She's done Jamie's room alright, didn't she? Anyway, right guys, I'm going to shoot. Thanks again for watching. I might do a live in a couple of days' time. Oh, hang on. All above and more moving ready houses for 40 grand. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be adverse to buying a property that needed refurbishment, providing it was livable. We've got kids, so I think having to navigate living in a property while you're doing it up can be quite difficult. I mean, I've always been, like Mum and Dad, from what I remember, that our main house that was in for 15 odd years, I was in 15 odd years, was a new build house, so that didn't need any maintenance. I vaguely remember my dad knocking out a wall or a staircase. Do you remember that one, Dad? But yeah, I wouldn't be adverse to buying a property that needed refurbishment, providing I had obviously the money left over to do the work and it was livable. You can do room at a time rather than having to sort of go through the whole fully refurbishment. I mean, we'd love to extend and go in the loft. We wouldn't be able to do it all at the same time. A, for money, and B, the amount of chaos it would cause. But I think we could live with a loft being extended by going to another room in the house and then do an extension off the back at some point later on. But the thing is, with a house that needs work, you can generally get a bit cheaper, and also you get to put your own stamp on it. If you buy a house that's fully refurbished, you can't then go in and well, you can, but you're really paying top money for a house just to go in there and change it all. So like buying a new building and going, oh, I don't like the kitchen, I don't like the bathroom, ripping it out, you're just throwing your money away. You might as well buy a house that needs a bit of work that you can sort of put your own stamp on. That's what I'd like to do. But again, I'd rather do that in an investment property that I can add value to, maybe flip or rent out. There's my sale pitch to the father and the brother, if they're still there. But no, definitely look at refurbishment. That might be a lot of people can get a bit of value. A lot of people moving may not want. I mean, like me, I with 3 kids, it's difficult to sort of do a refurbishment of a property when you've got 3 kids. Like living in the dust, if you just yourself and a partner, then doing a refurb can work pretty well. But if you've got a family, a lot of families will rule out a refurbishment because of the hassle. Whereas you, as somebody who doesn't have kids or in commitments like that, if you can go ahead and go and refurbish a property, you can refurbish it, obviously, reap the benefits of it, live in it lovely, and then when you come to sell it, you should reap the increase in the house price as well. So I think it's certainly a way of maybe getting a cheaper property, but even a cheaper property now is the definition of cheap has changed, I think, in the last year for house prices. So just need to hope they don't go up too much more. If they do, they do. I'm sure a lot of people will be able to sort of navigate and get it. Glenn Russell, Property and Finance. Good evening, Glenn. Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Don't recognise your first time here. I'm quite big now. Got 1,000 subscribers, so no, I can't say I've seen you before. A beer. Hello, thanks. Welcome to the channel. Got 10 people now. Excellent. Any questions you guys have? I was just about to go, so if you want to stay and chat, I can probably do another 10-15 minutes before I've got to feed the baby. So, Glenn, so what do you do? Are you in the? Oh, you followed Dean from the start. Ah, yes. He does have his uses, my brother. He does have my uses. Gives me the occasional shout out from his 6,000 subscribers strong channel. So I have to thank him for that. If you're still here, Dean, you may have just missed him. He was here trying to pitch our dad for some money to do another investment property. So A beer armour. You got any questions, my friend? Appreciate you joining. And if you can give the video a like, or the live stream a like as well, lets YouTube know that people are enjoying this. Property investor, own mortgage broking company in Essex and YouTube, which I same as me. Well, I'm not. I'm looking into doing my CMAP. Looking into doing my CMAP. You could probably point out how many things I've said wrong about mortgages over the last year. I have said that. I'm not an expert and seek professional advice. What about an Essex guy? Maybe over the years. Maybe even dealt with you. Been one of those annoying estate agents chasing up mortgage offers. Glenn, investing in this part of the world, excellent. No, a really good estate agent. May have to email me your contact details, just in case we get some leads that we might be able to pass your way. So yeah, pop me an email, Lee Everett, Property Advice, Russell Financial Solutions. Let me write that down. Wait. Cool. I'll right. I'm not too far away. South anyway. Excellent. Yeah, definitely. I'll look you up. Could you provide your personal email address? Yeah, Lee Everett. So LeeEverittt@gmail.com. I'm not quite big enough to have my own domain name yet and website. I don't know where to start with that. So yeah, just a good Gmail account. Lee Everett, Property Advice @gmail.com. I don't tend to reply during the day because I'm at work, and that would be a bit naughty. But if I'm in between appointments waiting for a viewer or what have you, I can certainly reply at the end of the day. So bear with me. We'll get back to you. Yeah, Glenn, thanks for popping by. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Always nice to sort of see people in the same industry as well who can maybe point me in the right direction if I've gone wrong in any way. So, Anderson, hey Anderson, thanks for popping back. Thanks, Mr. K. You too. Yeah, Anderson, you did a couple of days ago, so thank you for joining me. Really nice to see you. Yeah, good night, Glenn. Have a good one, mate. I'm already in the process of buying a house in Romford, but I'll make to follow you both case I need soon. Good to know you, Charles. That's all right. I mean, look, buying a house isn't a quick process. It's taking months and months and months. There may be something that comes up in the next few weeks which you might want some help or advice on, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help people. Part of the job I love doing. Absolutely love helping people buy houses. Yes, I know I make money from it, but this I don't make money from. It's purely me just enjoying myself, having a chat and helping particularly first time buyers. I'd say it's my niche, but anyone who's buying, selling, always here, no matter what stage of the process, to offer any help or advice. So what stage are you at the moment, Anderson? Got your searches underway, survey done? Let me know. How long has it been going for? My Dean, who's in the chat, it took 6.5 months to buy a house. Long time. Just let you reply if you're going to reply. Really bad lighting this again, isn't it? I need to get this lighting sorted. Hang on. Oh no. Let's go lower. I had to put some books on the fish tank to stop the cat lifting the lid up. Yeah, didn't want to learn the hard way, the cat getting the fish. Would be good, would it? Good. So any questions, Anderson? You got anything you want to say? Dean, thank you for staying up so late. I know you got, have you got no football today? Did you win? Didn't see anything on Facebook, so I'm guessing probably not. No? All right. I'm going with people. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you haven't given the video or stream a thumbs up. Unlucky, mate. Unlucky. Okay. But yeah, give the stream a thumbs up. If you're watching on the replay, you made it this far, just pop a comment down below. Just so I can say thank you for putting up with 50 minutes of me talking, 5 minutes longer than the last one. If you want another live stream, please let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to do one if there's enough demand for one. I mean, I think 11 people watching at some point tonight, so it's really nice to know. So thanks again for watching. I'm going to try and turn this off without breaking my phone. But yeah, have a nice evening, a great bank holiday. Take care.